Drug and alcohol-free workplace policy. Objectives: types of testing, list of drugs that are tested, testing procedures, disclosure of convictions in drug/alcohol use, violations, confidentiality. Types of testing. Pre-employment applicants. All applicants are subject to drug and alcohol testing. Applicants may be required to pass the drug test prior to employment, but after the company has made a conditional offer of employment. Reasonable suspicion testing. Drug tests will be conducted following any observed behavior creating reasonable suspicion. Routine fitness for duty testing. Employees may be required to undergo such testing as part of a routinely scheduled fitness for duty medical examination, for a test that is scheduled routinely for all members of an employment classification or group, and/or for a return to duty following certain medical leaves or rehabilitation. Other types of testing. Random testing. As part of the company's random drug or alcohol screening programs. Follow-up testing. When an employee in the course of employment has proactively entered into a drug rehabilitation program, the employee must undergo follow-up testing without advance notice. Follow-up testing will be conducted randomly for a 2-year period after completion of the program. List of drugs tested. Below is a list of the drugs that are tested per the drug-free workplace policy. It has both the chemical name and the street name or common name used for each drug. Testing procedures. Affected personnel will be tested according to this policy. The company will pay for all drug tests the company requires. The company uses a Certified Medical Review Officer, or MRO. The MRO for the company will be responsible for interpreting the drug test results, contacting the employee if the drug test is positive. The MRO is required to contact the donor who has a confirmed positive test result before reporting the results of the test to the employer. If the donor has a plausible explanation for the test result showing positive, in other words, legal use of prescription or non-prescription medication, as determined by the MRO will report the test result as negative to the employer. Consequences for refusing to submit to drug testing. Refusing to consent to or submit to a drug and/or alcohol test when required under this policy is considered a violation, and an employee will be deemed to have voluntarily quit his or her position if a test is refused. Positive test results. Before a positive test result is reported to the company, the test will be reviewed by the MRO. Tampering with a specimen. Tampering with specimen will result in discipline, up to and including termination of employment or rejection of employment for applicants. Contesting drug test results. An employee or applicant who receives a positive confirmed drug test result may contest or explain the result to the company's MRO within 5 working days after receiving written notification of the test result. Disclosure. Any employee who feels that he or she may have a substance abuse problem is urged to contact his or her supervisor. Such an employee will not be disciplined or retaliated against for such contact. However, contacting one's supervisor after an incident will not immunize an employee from the otherwise appropriate disciplinary action. The company will not discharge, discipline, or discriminate against an employee because the employee has voluntarily come forth to seek treatment for a drug-related problem if the employee has not previously tested positive for drug use. As a general rule, the company does not pay the cost of treatment for an employee with a drug-related problem. Employees must disclose any conviction, including a plea, finding of guilty, a plea of nolo contendere, and/or imposition of a fine, jail sentence, or other penalty for a drug-related offense in the workplace to the company within 5 days after such conviction. Failure to report will result in disciplinary action up to and including termination. Violations. The company has determined that it is a violation of the policy for any employee to use, possess, sell, trade, offer for sale, or offer to buy illegal drugs or otherwise engage in the illegal use of drugs on the job. For anyone to report to work under the influence of illegal drugs or alcohol, for anyone to use prescription drugs illegally, to otherwise not follow the rules outlined in this policy. Violations of any portion of this policy may subject employees, applicants to disciplinary action up to and including termination and/or refusal to hire. Confidentiality. All information, interviews, reports, statements, memoranda, and drug test results received by the employer through a drug testing program are considered confidential information. All information produced as a result of testing remains confidential unless the employee authorizes the release of written consent. The written consent form must contain the following information: the name of the person who is authorized to obtain the information, the purpose of releasing the information, the duration of the consent, the length of time the release will be needed, complete start and end dates, and the signature of the person authorizing the release of the information. The only exceptions to this are when such a release is compelled by a hearing officer or a court of competent jurisdiction, for determining qualification for unemployment compensation benefits. For more information, if you have any questions regarding this topic, please contact Human Resources or refer to the complete copy of Appendix B, Drug-Free Workplace Policy that you received when hired.